We've done Twitter takedown. We've done Twitter takedown again, but now that I've proudly abandoned Twitter entirely for a few reasons. My name is Angela. I am waiting for you in front of the camera. Come and discuss your favorite sex with me. This one's in Japanese, but don't worry guys, I'm totally fluent. I got this. There we go. I can suddenly read it now. See, I told you guys I was fluent. Hello, the rough waves of the market can sometimes shake our hearts, but we want to remain calm like the quiet dance of a crane and see the essence with the insight of a whatever that word is. In moments of fear, we boldly seize opportunities, and when desires swirl, we take a step back and remain calm. Wow, this is beautiful. Anyway, you get the fucking point. There's a ton of DM bots. Didn't Elon say he was going to reduce the amount of bots? Anyway, TikTok takedown! Woo, I've got lots of shitty videos to talk about, so buckle up and grab some popcorn or something, I don't know. Oh yeah, disclaimer, I will probably mispronounce almost every username said in this video. People have weird usernames that I have no idea how to pronounce, so sorry in advance. Our first video was made by a fellow by the name of Lewis the Undecided, a video arguing against the validity of lesboys. Here we go again. What does Lewis have to say to make bigotry sound cool? Let's find out.
Trans men are not lesbians, and claiming otherwise is both disrespectful and regressive. You can play identity dress-up all you want, but redefining established terms to suit personal whims isn't liberation, it's selfishness.
How the hell is somebody identifying the way they personally want selfish? Because nobody's trying to tell other people how to be lesbians. Except you! Also, we've redefined established terms many other times in history, especially in regards to lesbianism. In its first relevant use, lesbian used to just mean sexual love between women, essentially just meaning sapphic. Then it was changed to women who were exclusively attracted to other women. Nowadays, the term is being further changed with the specific purpose to include non-binary people, non-men attracted to non-men. Want me to be a real big smartass? Sorry guys, you can only identify as a lesbian if you come from the Greek island of Lesbos, aka what the term lesbian meant long before it ever got associated with sapphism. You know, it was totally so selfish that the real lesbians got the term taken from them from icky woman kissers. Point is, this point is stupid. Terms changing is not the end of the world, nor is it selfish. It's language. Language changes. We'll be coming back to the non-man attracted to non-man definition later on, don't worry.
You're not being radical, you're erasing the history of real people who fought and died for those labels to mean something.
Nobody fought and died over labels. You're heavily watering down queer history, as well as our current struggles. People fought and died to love their partners, to hold hands with their lover in public, to be able to express themselves without getting arrested, to wear what makes them happy. Nobody fought and died over words. They fought and died to be themselves. Bigots in power aren't fighting to take away our little words. They're fighting to kill us, regardless of the words we use. Read a fucking book, I beg of you.
Lesbianism is literally defined as non-man liking non-man.
By your own logic, non-binary lesbians are selfish for calling themselves lesbians because the term lesbian has exclusively included women for decades. This change in definition is extremely recent. It's not even officially recognized on Oxford Languages or Merriam-Webster. If men or male-aligned people can't be lesbians, neither can non-binary people. Either it's woman-exclusive or it isn't. Pick one.
By suggesting trans men can be lesbians, you're implying that trans men aren't men.
Okay then, by your logic, by acknowledging that non-binary people can be lesbians, you are therein calling them women. Why does it not apply to non-binary people? Why does none of this shit apply to non-binary people? This whole video is nothing but double standards and hypocrisy.
And more importantly, lesbians can be attracted to men.
They can. They have. Sappho, the Greek woman who the terms sapphic and lesbian are fucking named after, wrote erotic poems about both men and women. Also, Lewis, this may be very surprising for you to hear. You might want to sit down for this, but lesbians are human beings with autonomy. They can fuck whoever the fuck they want to fuck, and them identifying as a lesbian does not remove that autonomy from them.
That's redundant. Pride isn't just about wearing flags as capes and pinning buttons to your fucking jacket. It's about honoring the history and struggles of queer people.
Way to invalidate your own argument. How the fuck can you simultaneously honor queer people's struggles while discriminating against queer people who are different from you? You are causing some of those struggles. Also, this is you acknowledging that the LGBT movement was more than just labels, despite you implying that it was just labels roughly 20 seconds ago.
By ignoring the definitions that generations fought to establish.
Again, nobody fought to establish definitions. They fought to have sex with who they want.
You're not celebrating your identity, you're diluting it.
You have literally been saying this whole time that queer people fought not for equal rights, but for the rights to use certain words, I guess. You are the one diluting queerness. Someone celebrating their identity isn't harming anyone. You, being an asshole and discriminating against lesbians that you personally don't agree with, is harming people.
This causes confusion, not progress. You are not brave for confusing people, you are just loud.
That's what the queer community said about trans people decades ago. That's what the queer community said about non-binary people not too long ago. That's what the queer community continues to say about xenogenders, bigender people, non-binary lesbians, and of course, multi-spectrum lesbians as well as lesboys. This in-group bigotry isn't new, and it's embarrassingly easy to identify. You may be gay, you may be trans, but you are not culturally queer if you can't handle a little weirdness in the community that is literally named after a term that means peculiar or odd. The queer community is loud and confusing. There is nothing wrong with that. Get over it.
This isn't discourse, it's disrespect, and it's exhausting.
I agree. It's exhausting for me, and I'm not even directly affected by this form of bigotry. Imagine how the lesboys feel constantly being harassed, invalidated, and bullied over being queer in queer spaces. Poor widow Lewis. He has to coexist with people he doesn't personally understand. Feel bad for him, guys.
Guys, I don't know what was that. I'm scared. Who said that?
Someone who was really fucking wrong. Oh yes, my friends. We are covering the Divyasoup video. For the viewers who aren't chronically online artists, allow me to elaborate. Divyasoup is an artist infamous for a viral video she made discussing the common struggle artists have with drawing men. More specifically, the light-hearted comments people like to make about it. People didn't like this video for a reason. What reason? Well, let's find out.
Saying I can't draw men is all fun and jokes until you think about it and realize it's actually not funny at all. If you say you can't draw men, you're also stating you have a certain idea of what men should look like. And whether you mean it or not, this automatically excludes anyone who doesn't fit your version of the gender binary.
Most people do have a certain idea of what men look like. Men can express themselves outside of this expectation and still be men, but at the end of the day, acknowledging that the average man is masculine and the average woman is feminine is not saying that it's wrong to be outside of this average. If it was, then the concepts of masculinity and femininity don't actually mean anything.
And it sort of implies that unless someone looks the way you think a man should look, that means they're not men. And obviously I know people are gonna go, it's not that deep, but it is actually, it's deep-rooted transphobia that you're not confronting.
Again, that's not how the concepts of masculinity and femininity work. Without that basic expectation, masculinity and femininity don't mean anything. The concept of a feminine man can't exist if the concept of femininity isn't socially tied to women in some way. It works the same with masculinity. If you want to argue that the concepts of masculinity and femininity should be abolished altogether, then argue that. But you can't make this claim without specifying that, because it contradicts the idea of masculinity and femininity.
Your perception in what men and women look like is rooted in the society we live in, which is inherently not okay with trans people.
You can picture men generally as masculine and women generally as feminine, while still supporting trans people as well as men and women who contradict these general ideas. Nobody who says this is saying it because they believe that all men must be masculine. They're just making a general statement about the majority of men in relation to their art ability. So no, it's not actually that deep. Please don't take my argument here to mean that there's like something innate within women and men that makes them feminine and masculine. I'm not trying to be some gender essentialist, because I don't believe that masculinity and femininity are biologically tied to men and women. I believe that they are socially tied to men and women, and if you want to make this argument that picturing men generally as masculine and picturing women generally as feminine is inherently harmful, you first have to deconstruct the concepts of masculinity and femininity, which she barely does in this situation.
But we know logically that gender is not limited to two categories. When you start to examine the visual nature of gender identity, we can break it down into more feminine and masculine traits, but neither of these matter because anyone can have masculine or feminine traits.
This is the closest she comes to actually deconstructing the concepts of masculinity and femininity in the way that her argument requires. If the main thing she is arguing in this video is true, then the concepts of masculinity and femininity are in and of themselves transphobic. And if you want to argue that these concepts are inherently transphobic, go ahead, but you have to do that to make this argument that you're making here in this video actually make sense. Also, oh really? You can sort physical features into the categories of feminine and masculine. Is that not you therein admitting that you also have a preconceived notion about what men and women look like? You physically would not be able to sort them into these groups unless you had these same biases you're criticizing other people for apparently having.
And these traits do not define gender or gender identity. In artwork, gender is often broken down into a very black and white status, and that inevitably excludes a lot of people, especially trans and non-binary people.
I agree, but what does that have to do with people saying they have a hard time drawing men? You aren't excluding anyone by making a general statement that doesn't really affect anyone but the artist saying it.
I know it's not meant as a serious joke, but jokes still have impact.
Serious joke. Listen guys, I had to nitpick just once, please let me have this. Wait, what? We just did Divyasoup. Like all bad short-form commentators, she made a follow-up video. Does it explain away the dumb points from her previous video? Let's see.
I think a lot of you fundamentally misunderstood the point of my last video, and I apologize for making anything confusing or hard to understand, so I'm hoping to clarify things here. First and foremost, my point was not to criticize people for not drawing men, but rather to criticize the joke that people are making as a trend.
So, not being able to draw men is fine, but saying it out loud is the issue? How the fuck does that make any sense? By your logic, would both not be equally transphobic?
It is known that when people say I can't draw men, they are referring to cisgender masculine men.
Not necessarily. You can be trans and still fit masculine man gender roles. Sounds like you're the one assuming that trans men are inherently less masculine than the average man, and are therefore projecting that onto the people you're criticizing.
However, this is automatically exclusionary of anyone else who identifies as a man.
No, it is not. We already went through this. This is a massive stretch.
And when you only include cisgender hypermasculine men in your definition of man, you inevitably start to exclude anyone who doesn't fall under that category, and these are gender nonconforming, non-binary, or trans people.
Since when did I can't draw men have anything to do with hypermasculinity? I can't speak from experience since I've always had a harder time drawing women than men, but when I asked my friend Trilobite Beetle about it, he told me that all men with vaguely masculine features were included when he personally would say that he couldn't draw men. This included men with more androgynous or even partially feminine features.
And by its very nature, being exclusionary of someone due to their gender identity or because they do not fit your gender standards is transphobic.
Actually, transphobia is described as a dislike or strong prejudice against transgender people, which saying, "I can't draw men," has nothing to do with.
So by nature, this joke is not inclusionary, and therefore it falls under the category of a microaggression in transphobia.
I'm sorry, but not every joke has to include everyone. If a joke has actively transphobic implications, not this massive stretch, then yeah, it's transphobic. But simply not including every single kind of man ever in a joke is not transphobic.
On to my next point, I never once said that not wanting to draw men makes you transphobic. Rather, it is the very confident claim that you cannot do something that automatically seems strained.
Wait, I thought it was a joke. Now it's a confident claim. Make up your mind.
So due to this, I would encourage you to consider why drawing feminine features comes more naturally than drawing masculine features.
There are a ton of reasons why someone may have trouble drawing one gender over the other. For me, with feminine features, it's because I grew up in fandoms where people drew mainly men. Think creepypasta, Baldi's Basics, Roblox Myths, fandoms where most of the characters were men, usually twinks, meaning that's what I drew, skinny men. For Beetle, it's because they were assigned female at birth and therefore relate with female characters more. For me, it was the opposite because, I don't know, I guess I was assigned yaoi at birth. All jokes aside, everyone is different, and everyone can draw what they prefer to draw. Preferring to draw a certain type of person doesn't make you a bigot.
And I would definitely consider what you perceive to be feminine versus what you perceive to be masculine. The way we define feminine and masculine features are defined in Eurocentrism and beauty standards, and these are all very much against people of color and obviously gender non-conforming people. It is arguably better to deconstruct these beauty standards and gender binaries in our own mind so we can better navigate the world in front of us.
This attempt to deconstruct the concepts of masculinity and femininity was much better than your last video, and I do applaud you for that. Good job, you actually went through with the point you were trying to make and explained it in a decent way. Though, unfortunately, I still do disagree with how this relates to the original argument. To explain my issue with this whole argument, let me use an analogy. Let's say you're asked to picture a cat in your head. You are more than likely going to picture one or two different kinds of cats. You are not going to simultaneously picture every single kind of cat in existence. The reason that you picture that specific kind of cat in your head could be for many reasons. Maybe it's a cat you have at home. Maybe it's a cat you used to have. Maybe it's an online cat that you really like. Maybe it's just a cat you've seen more than other cats. If I picture an orange tabby in my head when I am asked to picture a cat, that is not me saying that black cats or Siamese cats or white cats or ragdolls aren't cats. That is just me saying that that is my personal mental picture of what a cat looks like. If you ask someone to picture a man, the man that they will picture depends on so many different factors and subconscious biases. That doesn't mean that the specific man that they will picture when they think of a man is the only kind of man in their head. They obviously know that there are men that do not fit the very specific picture they have in their head. It is basically impossible to picture every single kind of man that exists simultaneously because there are 7 billion humans on this earth. Half of them are men.
And finally, why did I turn off the comments? This is easy to answer. I went to sleep after posting this video and woke up to over 500 comments, and after scrolling through a couple of them, many of them were incredibly unkind, and several of them were extremely transphobic.
That reminds me, literally all of Divya's videos are full of comments that just say, "I can't draw men," and that's honestly funny as hell. Yes, live with your shit takes forever. Anyway, I'm skipping the rest of the video because it's boring. A user named Miranythang made a video about Helvaboss, Hazbin Hotel, and the Amazing Digital Circus. Because, of course, as we know, VivziePop personally killed all of our grandmas.
Thank God Divyasoup isn't writing this.
What happened to, this show is well written and I enjoy it. Why do we have to always bring someone else down to put someone else up? MG, it's just criticism. No, it's not. You don't begin your criticism with, oh my god, I'm really glad that insert person you're criticizing didn't write this show. I have never watched Family Guy in my life, but while I was watching this video, the only thing that was going through my head was,
why are you so fucking negative all the time?
why has it become a trend to degrade things just so you can praise something else?
Because the amazing digital circus shatters every single rule of adult animations. Because it's bright and colorful.
Since fucking when was that ever a rule of adult animation? Most adult animations are colorful.
It's actually appeasing to the eye.
That is entirely subjective. I'm sure that there's people out there that think that Big Mouth is one of the best looking shows in their personal opinion, and you can't say that they're wrong because it's their opinion, just like I can't say your opinion that Big Mouth is ugly is wrong because it's a subjective opinion. I agree with you that Big Mouth does look ugly in my opinion, but that doesn't actually mean anything, and it can't be a rule of adult animation because it is entirely subjective.
And it doesn't overly rely on grotesque humor or just shoving as much profanity into your sentences as possible. And it's able to address adult themes without throwing you into an existential crisis.
What does that even mean? Can you elaborate?
Because while Divyasoup fetishizes gay men,
Alright, let's speedrun this. 1. The co-writer of this show is a gay man. 2. One of these characters is voiced by that same gay man who has expressed that he can relate to the character he voices. See his interview with Anthony Padilla. 3. Portraying gay men in media isn't fetishization, even if those gay men are sexual. Fetishization in this context relies on the fetishizer to see the targets of said fetishization, gay men, as merely fetish objects, which you have no actual proof of. 4. The specific scene behind you actually had a purpose. Blitz was seducing Stolas to get his magic book so he could get to the human world. Stolas and Blitz's sexual relationship for almost the entire show was important for this specific reason, even before the whole messy romance arc. 38 seconds. That was probably some kind of record. I mean, hey, nobody has said that exact string of words before in a speedrun, so, you know.
we get actual grounded storytelling where the comedy comes off as natural.
Can you actually explain how the jokes don't come off naturally in Vivzy's shows? No? Cool. Just keep insulting someone's work without explanation or decent criticism.
And there's not as much as a single swear most of the time. That's why when characters finally do swear, it's hilarious.
Here is every sexual innuendo and swear word in episode 5 of The Amazing Digital Circus.
Not to mention the sex appeal.
Did I pick a bad time? I guess it's not as embarrassing as that time Gangle took an anime figure and...
That's fine. Let's skip this one.
You think after this, maybe we could...
Wait a minute, that's a bad thing.
Explain to Daddy Bubble how bad thing. You should throw a beach party.
I know there's an implication there, but I can't be to figure it out. If you're gonna make shit up, at least be creative about it.
Sup, I'm Evil Pomni. Check this out. You're out, dumb.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When in reality, you just everything up for everyone else!
Oh, damn it!
Man.
Point is, this stuff isn't rare in TADC. It's just not. Has-Been and Helva Boss have more innuendos and swear words, sure, but acting like the show is some kid-friendly masterpiece with 1 or 2 bad words is just wrong. Episode 5, in particular, has a lot of swear words and sexual innuendos. This show has always had these themes in it. You just weren't paying attention. But when the swearing is done by a gay guy, then it's an issue.
Cause if Divyasoup was writing this, every character would be Evil Pomni and it would be annoying. And I'm so happy the characters are designed in such a fun and appealing way. Because why does every adult show coming out today have to be grotesque and uncanny and just realistic enough to give you the creeps? Being an adult can be fun, it can be wacky, it can be gorgeous. We don't have to be ugly. Like, who would have guessed that all you needed was good writing and an original story to bring in an adult audience? Wow. You don't have to broadcast, oh, look at how ugly and grotesque we are. This is for adults. Look at how much the characters curse and have sex. This is for adults. Oh my gosh, is that alcohol and violence? Celebrity references. See, this is for adults.
Oh, alcohol and violence? Okay, bet.
I'm getting violent,
normally
and I'm
never
going
say.
to kill Ragatha.
Oh my god.
Ah, delicious meat. 1 down, 4 to go. Oi, mate! I'm an Australian extremist, and I've come to detonate this bomb that'll release all the world's deadliest spiders into...
Hi! I'm a New Zealand extremist, and I don't know what New Zealanders threaten people with.
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white, since I'm a vegan. Hey guys, I hope we all have a fun game, no matter who ends up winning. I want to kill that guy.
I think you look good.
I don't want to hear that! I want you dead!
Oh, hey. Wait, what are you...
See guys, Digital Circus is free of all that sinful violence and alcohol. This is such a fucking stupid complaint. We're complaining about adult themes in adult shows now. Like, okay, if you think that Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss or Big Mouth or Family Guy or whatever else takes it too far, then that's fine. I can see how it's not for everyone. But putting grown-up themes in adult shows is not bad writing. It's just not your personal vibe, which is fine, but it's not an excuse to be an asshole and claim it's objectively bad. You're praising TADC because it broke rules, while you're calling a show you don't like objectively bad because it breaks your personal rules of writing. To reiterate, you think the sex jokes in Hell of a Boss is too much? That's fine. Claiming Divyasoup is a bad writer because her writing style doesn't tickle your fancy? That's called being an asshole.
Like, no, we're gonna play a stupid softball game and still have that be more mature than a majority of the adult shows out there.
You mean that softball game that had a good chunk of the swear words that you were criticizing Hell of a Boss for having?
Like, isn't it a breath of fresh air how the unequivocally evil douchebag is one of the few characters that never curses at all? Like, he's so mean and cruel, but he never curses. That's amazing.
I know I just criticized Family Guy for being too violent, and this character is the most violent character in the entire show, but guys, he doesn't say no words.
And I can keep going, but I love how this show is able to have seemingly innocent fun without shoving its adult themes down our throat.
Ah yes, because the fucking moon asking Kane if he's down to fuck or Bubble randomly mentioning sex for no reason is totally not shoving adult themes down their throats by your logic. Oh, it's because it's about gay people. When gay people are horny, it's all a fetish. Now it makes sense. Now I see how Divyasoup is fetishizing gay men because gay men as a concept are inherently a fetish. Oh. I'm not trying to say that this guy in particular believes all of what I just said, but it honestly feels like a lot of the people who criticize Hell of a Boss for being fetishizing of gay men just see gay men as a fetish and that's why they believe that. Other adult shows are horny. What makes this one different other than the fact that it's gay and horny? This next video is a video made by FamousLastWords.0 about the topic of dissociative identity disorder. I may not be an expert on DID, but even I can point out some issues with this video. Let's see what those issues are, shall we?
This is probably like a really huge hot take, but DID is a commonly fake disorder, and I'm really tired of people pretending like it isn't.
Okay, I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong, but what I am saying is that you need some kind of source to make this claim. The concept that DID is a commonly fake disorder is merely an assumption otherwise. The reason why people are pretending like it isn't is because there's no concrete evidence that this is an actual occurring issue. Yes, you can point to 1 or 2 individuals who have admitted to faking DID, but that doesn't make it commonly faked. People fake all kinds of conditions, DID, Tourette's, cancer. That doesn't mean that these medical conditions are commonly faked. It just means that a couple individuals did fake this disorder at one point.
And obviously, fake claiming's bad, and you're a huge dick if you fake claim strangers. You're fucking harassing people on the internet. People do purposely fake DID for many reasons, like attention, a sense of community, escape, etc.
People fake different disorders all the time. DID isn't unique in that. Also, can you give some examples of people who have faked DID to strengthen your argument? Oh wait, that would be fake claiming. Do you see why this video annoys me yet?
But also, people don't always fake disorders on purpose either, and a lot of people on here always say if you are faking, you would know, when that is just not true. Many people convince themselves that they are a system, or see other people's experiences and misconstrue their own to fit the narrative of theirs.
You mean misdiagnosing? That's not faking a disorder. Fake in this context means pretend to feel or suffer from an emotion or illness. You can't accidentally pretend to do something. If someone has autism but they get misdiagnosed with OCD, they aren't faking OCD. This also applies to self-diagnosing. If someone with autism genuinely believes they have OCD because their symptoms overlap with OCD, that also isn't faking. That's called making a mistake.
And this is the most common in system spaces online.
Proof? Evidence? Examples? No, that would be fake claiming, and that's bad. Clearly, Hades here is referring to anonymous people that he can't even prove exists. These arguments are very reliable.
This is especially apparent to me when all these people ever talk about is alters when it comes to DID. The main symptom of DID or any other dissociative disorder is dissociation, obviously. Like feeling like nothing you do affects anything around you and you are not real and nothing around you is real. This is why other disorders like DPDR can't be diagnosed with DID or become morbid, because the Venn diagram of the similarities between DPDR and DID is like 2 circles inside of each other, because the symptoms overlap so heavily between other dissociative disorders like that. And yes, to be diagnosed with DID, you have to have 2 or more distinct parts, but the thing is, no one online or even in real life talk about dissociation, which is one of the main symptoms of it.
Ah yes, they don't talk about all those symptoms online, which means they're faking. Dissociation is a symptom of many disorders. Having multiple people in your head isn't. DID stands out so much because of how fascinating it is to have multiple people sharing one body. Obviously, people would rather talk about that than things like dissociation, amnesia, and all that equally important, but arguably not as interesting stuff like that. The claim you're making, or at least the claim I think you're making, is that somebody not talking about every symptom of their mental disorder means they aren't actually experiencing these symptoms. Not everything needs to be talked about online. Not everyone wants to share every single facet of their disorder. Your logic isn't much better than the fake claimers you're criticizing.
Especially those people that claim to be endogenic, which is not real, by the way.
Can you elaborate? Like, I'm not even saying you're wrong, I just want a more elaborate explanation other than endogenic systems aren't real because I said so. I'm neutral on the whole topic because of my limited knowledge of DID, but please, enlighten me. Give me a good reason as to why endogenic systems aren't real.
Only ever talk about alters, never negotiation, always the friends in my head. I'm not saying this means someone is faking.
That is quite literally what you're saying, though. If that isn't what you're saying, then everything you've been saying isn't actually related to what this video is supposed to be about.
I'm just saying it's an observation. I'm also not saying you should fake claim people. You don't know. That's wrong. Stop making it mean.
Unless they're an endogenic system, I guess. This video just feels a little bit hypocritical. following video was suggested to me by Ray Rose Studios, so thank you for the material. A user named Morebrs made a video criticizing people who don't like AI-generated content. Let's see what points he makes.
If he's using AI, I'm done supporting the GOAT. Respectfully, I need some of you to shut the fuck up about AI, okay? Do you not feel extremely insufferable when you say things like this unprovoked? Now, I don't particularly like AI artwork, but how come people who don't like it have to bring it up every time they think about it? You complaining about it, you saying, oh, well, I can't support this, is not gonna make it go away.
Maybe not directly, but indirectly, it kind of can. If people stop supporting companies and people who use AI, that will therefore lower the demand for AI-generated content, and therefore can make AI-generated content less used because using real artists, writers, and voices will give them more views and money. So yes, expressing your dislike of AI-generated content can cause less AI-generated content to exist. Nothing will get rid of it entirely, obviously, but the more anti-AI stances are being expressed, the more it can not only discourage companies from using AI with fears of losing profit, but can inform individuals that use AI why AI is unethical.
All sitting here like, oh, well, if it's AI, I can't support it because then it's not real art. You either like it or you don't. It's like you go to a restaurant and you eat a burger and you're like, this is a good burger. And then you find out it was frozen beforehand. You're like, wait, this was a frozen burger? Ugh, I don't like it anymore. You're literally just playing high and mighty for no reason because you actually genuinely don't care.
People do care, though. That's why people boycott companies that use AI-generated content. I don't care how pretty AI art may look. I want art that was made by an actual real person that exists. Art is more than its beauty. Art has meaning. It has soul. Taking the soul out of art is like taking the taste out of food.
You just want to hop on the, oh, boo, AI is bad bandwagon. And for people who are like, oh, but like the environment, you don't care about the environment. You don't care. Most of you don't even recycle.
The average home uses about 300 gallons of water per day. That's roughly 100,500 gallons a year. ChatGPT uses roughly 300,000 to 10 million liters of water a day. 10 million liters is about 2,641,720 gallons. And I don't even think I need to calculate the amount ChatGPT uses in a year to prove this point. Just for fun though, let's calculate how much water ChatGPT uses in a year. 964,227,800 gallons. So no, the environmental harms of the average person cannot be compared to the environmental harms of AI, regardless if they recycle or not. You don't need to be some environmentalist hippie to be worried about this. And not to mention, this is just ChatGPT. Who knows how much water all the most popular AI programs combined are wasting? For what? Glass fruit ASMR? Be so fucking for real.
AI is here and it's not going anywhere. Get with the program.
Ah yes, because something becoming normalized means that people shouldn't fight against it. Fantastic fucking idea. I love blindly accepting things without questioning them, especially when it's causing severe environmental damage.
Bro, I saw someone post the other day, they're like, oh yeah, it's definitely like a flex if you've never used ChatGPT. Like, bro, I'll tell you right now, if you're not using ChatGPT, you are 100% missing out, okay? And I don't mean for generating stupid art.
I have never been so glad to be missing out on something in my life. I also like having access to water, you know? I like being hydrated.
If you use ChatGPT like a personal assistant, it will literally change your life.
What the fuck could I get ChatGPT to do for me? Draw? I can do that myself. Write? I can also do that myself. Give me information? Google exists.
But anyways, the man in question, Quan Mills, he's been writing for a decade, like literally like pre-TikTok. I remember seeing stuff about what he was writing. So he rose to prominence before AI was even like a popular thing. So I truly doubt that he's using AI, at least for the writing portion. But the thing is, even if he was, again, you like the books, or you don't. I'm tired of people sitting here pretending that they care about things they actually don't.
You are saying that the people against AI simultaneously don't actually care, yet at the same time care too much. How the fuck does that work?
You either like the song, you either like the picture, you like the book, or you don't, okay? Who wrote it or how it was written doesn't change that. You either enjoyed it or you didn't. So I'm tired of people going around acting like this somehow changes their experience in experiencing this product.
You do know that people who like books, artwork, music, and animation like it for more reasons than the surface level appeal, right? The most famous artists wouldn't have gotten famous if their work didn't have at least a little bit of soul and meaning to it. AI art doesn't have that. Wasting millions of gallons of water for art and music that is soulless, meaningless, and steals from real artists is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Even music and art with no meaning at all still has the reason for its lack of meaning. A human reason. A human made the choice to make that song mean nothing, or that picture mean nothing, and that by default gives it more meaning than AI art, because AI doesn't have thoughts.
Now, personally, do I like the concept of AI art? Do I consider AI art people real artists? No, I do not. However, if I see some like cool form of art and then I find out it's AI, am I gonna pretend that it doesn't look cool to me? No.
If I see a picture I like and later find out it's AI generated, obviously I still enjoy how it looks from a surface level point of view, but because it's AI, I won't actually like it anymore because no shit, I think AI sucks. I can find plenty of other pretty images to look at that were made by real people.
I'm so tired of like all this virtue signaling and all this pretending to be holier than that. Like literally, regardless of AI being good or bad, in like 10 years, we're gonna get to a point where it's intertwined with our society.
And I will promptly move to Mars.
And you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, what was the point of me just hating on AI anytime I had a chance to?
Yeah, it sucks that our water is gone and real art doesn't really exist anymore, but hey, look at this ugly dancing cat. I'm skipping the rest of the video because he makes a point about how AI had nothing to do with the video the comment was commenting on, which is a decent enough point because yeah, talking about AI when it's entirely irrelevant is kind of annoying. A user named FloIsFine made a video about the topic of bigotry. Just bigotry in general, I guess. This video is anti-bigotry, but it doesn't necessarily make it good. Let's find out why.
If you're transphobic, you're also racist. If you're racist, you're also sexist. If you're sexist, you're also transphobic. If you're transphobic, you're also homophobic. Let me explain.
If it wasn't obvious, I disagree with this point of view. Let's let her explain her point so I can explain why they don't actually make sense.
You cannot be hateful towards one group of people and claim to be not hateful and accepting of another group of people because intersectionality, that's a word I think a lot of you have never heard of or forgot.
Are you actually going to explain what intersectionality is? No? Cool. I guess I'll have to do it for you. Intersectionality is essentially just the unique experience minorities have compared to other minorities because of a combination of their traits. For example, a black man and a black woman are both black, but they will both have different experiences with being black because the mix of their gender and race causes a unique form of bigotry towards both of them.
I just got into a conversation with my partner and we were talking about J.K. Rowling and how J.K. Rowling is not racist, she's just transphobic, right? Wrong. Because you cannot be both transphobic and also not racist. Because if you support black people, if you support any people, you also support the trans people who fall under that category.
That's not intersectionality. That's nothing but a huge fucking stretch. So if a black person does something you don't like, and you don't like them because of that thing they're doing, you hate all black people now? The fuck? Transphobia is bad enough. You don't have to make up insane leaps in logic to make it look even worse. Yes, let's just start calling random people racist now. That totally won't water down the term at all and make actual racist rhetoric harder to recognize because racism has now been defined as disliking a person of color for any reason. Acknowledging the large overlap between different kinds of bigotry is one thing, like for example how transphobic rhetoric also commonly includes homophobic rhetoric, or how xenophobic rhetoric often also includes racist rhetoric, or how sexist rhetoric commonly includes racist and homophobic rhetoric. That is not only correct, but extremely important to acknowledge. That isn't this, though. This is a crazy leap in logic that waters down bigotry. This easily opens the door for disagreeing with a person of color is racist, which people are already spreading, by the way. Identity politics rhetoric is so fun. So yes, make that fallacy even easier to spread. That totally doesn't, again, water down terminology terms like racism and make them seem like a joke, when it is not. Racism is harmful. It's not just a buzzword you can tack on to make an already bad person look worse because it makes you personally feel good.
If you're hateful towards one group of people, inevitably, you are being hateful towards all people.
First of all, that is not how that works. I just explained that. 2, that doesn't make you a bigot. That makes you shrimpo. Alright, jokes aside, if you hate all people equally, you aren't a bigot. Bigotry includes specific harmful beliefs against certain groups. If someone hates every race equally, including white people, they just hate everyone. These people don't actually exist, though. People don't go around simultaneously saying that they hate all white people because they're white, all black people because they're black, all Hispanics because they're Hispanic, all Asians because they're Asian, etc., etc., etc. That is not a real thing people do. Your argument here makes no sense because you're saying that if someone hates trans people, then they hate every single kind of person on the planet. Either that or you worded it that fucking poorly.
Because at some point, the groups that you're being hateful towards are going to intersect. You can't say, I support women, but don't support trans women, or don't support gay women. Like, you can't pick and choose where you want to be supportive, or pick and choose where you want to be hateful.
Yes, you can. It's a shitty belief, but it is physically possible and quite common for people to have that belief. Unless you can show me psychological evidence that makes what I just said untrue, I don't want to hear it. Because again, you're not just acknowledging a pattern, you're making a concrete claim that doesn't have any evidence to back it up. Don't ask why that part of the video was in slow motion. I have no idea. That wasn't my doing. That was in the original video. FunkyFrogBait? Why are they here? Alas, nobody, not even FunkyFrogBait, is immune to the occasional L. Don't worry, they didn't blow up a family of 4 or something. Basically, during their gameplay of the popular dating simulator Date Everything, they called a character named Timothy a child.
Alright, let's see, You see a slim, dainty gentleman in a well-tailored suit. He's absorbed in the ticking of a fancy pocket watch, but it's the feline ears on his head that most catch your attention.
Y'all, I'm never trusting you again.
A tail sprouts from just above his backside, moving back and forth in time with the watch.
Tick, tick, tick.
Guys! I trusted you! I trusted you! Guys! It is... Who is this child furry? Not the cat. I can't. Guys, I can't. I can't. No. Why did y'all make me waste conversation on him? Guess that explains the obsession with time.
It most certainly does not.
Look, this is a 12-year-old. This is a 12-year-old. This is a 12-year-old. I don't like that.
If you have eyes, you would realize that this character, you know, the one wearing a fucking suit, is not a child. The only thing that could be considered childish about this character is the voice, which in my opinion is still a massive stretch. He has a higher pitched voice, sure, but he speaks in a way that no 12-year-old would ever speak in.
Sweet heavenly hours, I was so busy reprimanding you, I forgot to introduce myself. Not that you didn't deserve it for breaking from the schedule, but it is no
Don't call it that.
You may be saying, okay, so what? Well, they made an extremely obnoxious response on TikTok to the extremely minor backlash they got. Allow me to show you what I mean.
It has come to my attention that I'm apparently experiencing something of a micro-cancellation on this app. Haha, come!
Who the fuck is trying to cancel you? Literally who? All I've seen is extremely politely worded criticism, mostly from fans, by the way, explaining that they thought your opinion on Timothy was kind of weird. Nobody thinks you're a bad person. Nobody wants you to be deplatformed. They just think you took a minor L. If this is how you respond to the most low-stakes, polite, minuscule of criticism, I'm a little worried about how you'd respond with more serious situations. situations. And considering you are a commentator, I don't know, this just really lowers your credibility.
I jokingly said that one of the character designs, not a real-life flesh and blood person, mind you, but a drawing, looked kind of like a child, and therefore I did not want to fuck.
Correction, you did not say that he looked kind of like a child. You said he was a child, a 12-year-old to be exact.
Let me make one thing crystal clear. Show the millennial zoom. I want two things and two things only. Big bad bitches and old ass men. If that's such a crime, then slap on the cuffs, officer. My wrists are ready and able. Y'all don't show up for the MILFs, DILFs, and GILFs like I do. I will die about this shit.
Your personal preferences are entirely unrelated to the situation. People are annoyed at you for calling Timothy a 12-year-old. They aren't annoyed that you didn't want to fuck him.
I wasn't trying to make any kind of ethical stance against banging kitty cat boys. Feel free to bounce on that clock minus the L all you want.
Why were you angry at your chat then before calling him a 12-year-old? Even if you weren't actually genuinely upset over it, it's not that hard to assume you were with how you were acting. If you wanted to make a decent video addressing the backlash, you should have either apologized for calling him a child or clarified that you didn't actually mean any of it seriously, which you try to do here, but you're focusing more on talking about how he's not personally your type, as if that's at all relevant, and saying you're being micro-cancelled over polite criticism. Even if the situation in question isn't very serious, this was still a poorly executed response. I can see why people who are into this weird cat boy would be a bit annoyed by what you said about him, especially if they don't fancy the idea of dating a 12-year-old. Nobody is mad at you because you don't want to fuck a fictional character. People are mildly annoyed at you because people are sick and tired of people calling their favorite fictional characters children over looking ever so slightly young or sounding ever so slightly young despite very obviously being an adult. And listen, if you think the criticism is stupid, that's fine. You can make a video talking about why you think the criticism is stupid. You do that. But what you're doing right here is less of you doing that and more of you strawmanning and claiming that people are mad at you because you weren't attracted to a specific fictional character.
I guess I'm not claiming that you guys are perverts for liking those characters. I'm not making any kind of statement about gender expression or literally, y'all. So if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna skip out on the early 2010 Tumblr discourse happening right now.
Don't call an adult character from a dating simulator a child if you don't want people to politely disagree with you. That's how the internet works. When people call adult characters children, more often than not, they are trying to make a moral argument against the people who are attracted to that character, and usually trying to label them as a lolicon. I understand that was not in any way your intention, but you need to understand that people can very easily misunderstand what you were saying to be a moral argument against people who are attracted to this character. With all of the garbage lolicon drama, pro-ship drama, minor-coded drama, it is quite easy for people to assume you were making an argument that you were not making. Oh golly, a video about animation memes? This is right up my alley. Let's see what the user GoodLuckHavFunn has in store for us.
I gotta come out and say that animation memes are degrading terribly.
Oh god, it's one of these.
I can't watch a modern animation meme without it being quickly made tweening animation of a character bopping its head to the music.
Hey guys, let's play a game. Guess the modern animation meme, where I show two popular animation memes by the same artist, and you have to guess which one is old and which one is new. First up, we have Sashly. You love her, you hate her, but we all know her as the queen of animation memes, for better or for worse. Let's take a look at these animations so we can guess the modern animation meme. Have you locked in your answer? Ooh, I'm sorry, it was actually number 2. Second up is Unknown Spy. Guess the modern animation meme. Oh, sorry, you're wrong. It was actually number 1. Lastly, we have I Just Wanna Have Fun, the animator we all remember vividly from our creepypasta phases, and who has an extremely unfortunate way of short-forming the word creepypasta. Guess the modern animation meme.
Let's face it. Let's face it. Let's face it. Let's face it. Let's come to terms and embrace it. Conquer and concede. And face it. I'm cute. I'm on them antidepressants. We feeling good today. Watch me make an entrance. Yeah, I'm the shit today. Antidepressants. Antidepressants. Watch me make an entrance. Yeah, I'm the shit today.
Yup, sorry, it was actually number 2. This is a really long and dragged out way to make the point that animators have not degraded in choreography or animation style. It has gotten better because the artists have gotten better. This is just nostalgia bias. And if you mean the newer people who are just joining the animation meme community, yeah, most of those are children. You're picking on children for not being gods at animation.
Different videos for a trend are repetitive and lacking of potential creativity.
Oh yeah, let's just ignore the fact that there was multiple animation meme dramas about children copying each other because of how similar their art styles and choreographies were in animation memes. And to reiterate a point that a lot of people were making during these dramas, animation memes are not supposed to be original. That's what makes them different from regular animations. They are short animations where you usually copy, more or less, the choreography from other animators.
I don't see as much frame-by-frame work anymore, or work that goes beyond a character standing in the same place and changing its facial expression after every beat. And frame-by-frame animation IDOC are so underrated and they barely get any attention.
Where the fuck have you been looking? Where the fuck have you been? There has been so much frame-by-frame content recently. Of course, I've been busting my ass making frame-by-frame content, but so have so many others. Just to give you some ones I've been following lately, Lee the Dog, Poi, So Fluff, and so many others. Just look for them.
It blows my mind how much people's attention spans have shortened, and I'm not just talking about the artists. I'm positive that the viewers are the one to blame for this. Y'all are so addicted to consistently uploaded content that you'll unfollow a creator if they don't post something for a while. All these artists with so much potential want to grow and expand, but they don't get those opportunities when they are worrying about people unfollowing them.
Literally, who the fuck is unfollowing people because they don't post often? I have literally never seen that in my life.
Able to put love and passion into their work, but I hardly get to see that anymore, and it's killing me.
The fact that you equate tweening with a lack of passion is partially why I think this video is so entitled. Give me more content I like. Anything I deem low effort or, God forbid, to tweening has no passion. Who are you to tell any artist their work lacks passion? Fuck off, dude.
Another point is how quickly trends are coming and going. Frame by frame, animators rarely get enough time to finish an animation for a trend before it ends and everybody moves on.
Now, this might seem insane to you, but you can animate to a song without it trending. Trends should not control your choices. Animate to something because you want to, not because it's a trend.
I kinda wanna blame tweening for that, cause less work is needed with those kind of programs, so that means more content, quicker, and sooner, making the audience get bored of the trend faster or something like that.
It also means a quicker process for artists who have a fucking life and would rather spend a day making an animation than 2 months so they can, I don't know, do their homework. It also means an easier, less painful process for artists who may have chronic pain that makes it hard for them to use their hands for long periods of time. Who the fuck do you think you are to tell people to make more difficult and time-consuming animations for your personal pleasure? These animators don't owe you anything. You want frame by frame? Do it yourself. Animation is supposed to be fun, and the worth of an animation is not based on how long it took to make or how hard it was to make. You don't get to go around pyrocynicaling people's animations because you personally want these 13-year-olds to put more effort into their own work, which, by the way, is not and has never been for you.
Old animation memes were peak. I'm sure others think the same. I hate to say it, but at least they felt like they had some real story and passion.
Oh yes, the story and the passion of these old animation memes. Nostalgia bias. That's all this shit is. Yes, I love those old animation memes, but I've acknowledged that all those animators have improved, because that's normally how improvement works. I'm sorry these new animations won't be nostalgic for you, but that doesn't mean they're less passionate.
Anyways, thank you for reading my opinion and discussing this problem among the art community. Bye bye.
Do you hear yourself right now? You're declaring random kids' animations a problem because it isn't up to your personal standard. Do you hear how entitled that is? Our last video of the day is by LucituKid? About Zerum x Sebastian Solis, I guess. For context, Sebastian Solis is a fictional character from the Roblox game Pressure. Zerum is the creator of Sebastian Solis. She ships herself Sona with him and they are canonically married. Sounds harmless, right? Well, not to this person.
So I just saw a video about Pressure that defended Zerum from all the hate she's getting just because she's married to Sebastian.
This isn't an actual point or anything, but oh my god, that's a funny sentence.
And I won't say I don't agree, because I do. The hate is clearly wrong, but I do have to add some stuff to this relationship situation. The person in the video claimed that Sebastian was in legal age to marry Zerum before he was imprisoned in Urban Shade, which is objectively true, but be for real. Sebastian is canonically 32 to this date, and was imprisoned in 2013, not 2015. Do the math, and that would make him 20 in 2013, maybe even 19 if this happened before February 3rd. He's half Chilean and half American, and if we assume he resides in America, the median age for a marriage is between
28 and 30 years old.
What about Chile?
30 and 32.
So I don't believe he should be married to anybody just because bro had legally 1 year to decide if he should marry or not.
Okay, listen, I really hate to burst your bubble, but Sebastian Solis can't decide anything. He's a fictional character. He can't consent to a marriage.
Plus, it just doesn't seem fitting for his character. I know Human Seb and Monster Seb are two completely different people, but as far as we know from Human Seb, it still doesn't seem fitting or believable to me.
Can you elaborate as to how it's not fitting for Sebastian's character to be married to Zerum? No? Okay then.
Now listen, I don't give a fuck about what Zerum does to him. If he's married or not, I don't mind as long as it isn't that relevant to the lore. He has a girlfriend? Great. Fantastic. Zero compliance. But tell me, how am I going to take seriously the fact that Seb is in a relationship when Zerum, in the game,
has bunny ears?
I'm sorry, Zerum, but you should have made an OC or another avatar to ship with Human Sebastian.
Who are you to tell Zerum what to do with her character? And how is it unrealistic for Sebastian to be dating a girl with bunny ears? He is a giant mutant fish.
Because I highly doubt it's normal to see bunny girls in the Pressure universe, the real world.
Again, this is a universe where it's possible to create giant mutant fish. But you're trying to argue that bunny ears is crossing the line? Bunny ears? Are you kidding me?
It just looks cringe and not fitting for Sebastian.
A self-ship is cringe? Oh, good heavens, God forbid. We've never seen this before.
I don't mean to say that I hate Zerum for it. I am thankful because without her, Pressure and Sebastian wouldn't have ever been a thing.
Then stop telling her what to do with her own characters because you personally find it cringe.
but I think we all can agree that Zerum's avatar doesn't fit with Sebastian's vibes.
Because ships where the characters are opposite aesthetics don't exist, apparently. Do you guys want me to make another TikTok takedown? Send me videos in my TikTok DMs at mg_draws_things, and if I get enough, I will make another one. Well, that's all I have for you today. Have a great day, a great summer, and goodbye.